You ever see something you know was constructed entirely through love? You can tell just by looking at it that the soul of those what made it resides within the inner workings of the thing. But even though it's filled with God's greatest material, it's broken. Like severely broken. This is Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Released in 2010 for basically everything at the time, Shattered Dimensions was received moderately well. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, it was fine. I absolutely loved it at the time and I have fond memories of it. But that was more because of how fan servicey it was than from the actual quality of it.
Nuff said, kids. Nuff said.
Speaking of, this was developer Beanox's first time developing a Spider-Man project from the ground up. Before this, they've done port works on Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man 3. Because that's what Activision is all about. Getting everything on everything. Well, on the subject of Activision, you know what they really like? A good old Kotick counts when he wants to go Betty bye-bye? Fucking money. And to get those fast acts, sometimes you gotta get a good look at the competition and go, yo, what the fuck is popular right now? Oh shit, Batman Arkham Asylum came out in 2009 and made fucking bank? What superhero does Activision have the rights to? Oh, only one of the most popular superheroes of our time. Alright, what did Rocksteady and Eidos do for Batman? Hire a well-known Batman author to help with the game's pre-production? We do that, but with the Spider-Man. What else? Hire voice actors from Batman the Animated Series to voice their iconic characters. Okay then, how about we hire 4 different people that played Spider-Man to play 4 different Spider-Men? Batman utilized an all-new hand-to-hand combat system that revolutionized third-person action games? Well, Activision ain't gonna give Beanox the time and money to figure that shit out, but it's got Predator missions like Batman. Even a slow behind-the-camera walk for conversations. Which is weird because that's an Unreal Engine trope, and through extensive research, I have determined that Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions has no engine. Look, I'm not a game developer, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Video games tend to take a long time to make, and I don't really know how long it took for Beanox to develop Shattered Dimensions. Hell, I can barely find any information on Shattered Dimensions, but when you play it, it definitely feels like it wouldn't exist without Arkham Asylum. But it also feels like whoever made the game really likes Spider-Man. Like a lot. For one, these games feel a bit like the Never Saw Spider-Man games on the PS1. I mean, like, ever so slightly. A Stan Lee narrator and a linear set of levels with a focus on combat and stealth. Also, the collectibles look similar. And that's just a fun nod to Spider-Man's history with the company. Then we got Dan Slott, who, by that point, had been working on Spider-Man for a few years to various capacities. I'm lukewarm on him myself, but a lot of people seem to enjoy his work. Fun little thing, this game was the inspiration for Spider-Verse. However, this game has one major disadvantage that Spider-Verse did not have. That's the fact that Spider-Verse came out in 2014. This game stars 4 different Spider-Men, 3 of whom are Peter Parkers. There's 616, voiced by Neil Patrick Harris of MTV's Spider-Man fame. We got Spider-Man Noir, played by Christopher Daniel Barnes from the Spider-Man 90s cartoon. Ultimate Spider-Man, played by my favorite Spider-Voice, Josh Keaton from Spectacular Spider-Man. And then Dan Gilvezan from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, voicing Spider-Man 2099. So Noir, 616, and Ultimate are all Peter Parkers. 2099 is Miguel O'Hara, a rich asshole who became Spider-Man after an accident involving spider DNA and genetic rewriting. Also, Miguel is of Mexican and Irish descent. Another fun fact, my mother was born in 1962. The same year Amazing Fantasy number 15 debuted. And I was born 30 years later in 1992, which was the year Spider-Man 2099 made his debut. So I've always had a soft spot for him. And as a half Boricua, I appreciate Miguel's half Latino and half European heritage. But again, 3 Peter Parkers. So 616 and Noir have a justification for being here. 616 because of all the Spider-Men, he is the Spider-Man. And Noir's setting and attitude is so different from most versions of Peter Parker that he's essentially another character on the surface. However, Ultimate isn't really any different from 616, so they contrived a difference by giving him the symbiote suit. Now, Ultimate was included because Ultimate is the only other Spider-Man most audiences would know. There was a few games a couple years back, and there were rumors the Ultimate Universe was going to replace Marvel's mainstream comic universe because of how popular it was. I get it, but the choice is boring. Funny thing is, Miles Morales debuted in 2011 and replaced Peter in the Ultimate Spider-Man books. That would have been an awesome inclusion. Half Boricua Spider-Man? Hell yeah! But Beanox couldn't help when this game was made. God knows they couldn't. But the game could have chosen any other Spider-Man. Spider-Knight, Sentai Spider-Man. Hell, they could have used Jessica Drew. Power set is so different, I'm sure you could do something really cool with her. But what are you gonna do? These are the 4 we got, and Beanox does their best to try to distinguish them. The combat is similar between all of them, going for a character action style akin to Devil May Cry and God of War. However, 616's combat focuses on web, so he's a mid-range fighter. Noir's focuses on stealth, and his combat sections are boring and frustrating. 2099 focuses on speed. Instead of Spidey Sense, Miguel has enhanced sight and hearing, which translates to bullet time mechanically. He also has these skydiving sections, which, fine. And Ultimate, like I said earlier, has a symbiote suit and an absolutely broken rage mode that trivializes the combat. The game is divided into chapters, and each chapter is subdivided into 4 levels, each starring a particular Spider-Man and each with their own particular supervillain, which is cool. No one villain repeats themselves. Feature Lady Doc Ock, Gangster Green Goblin, Ultimate Electro, Regular-ass Sandman, everyone is here. Each level is designed to reflect each Spider-Man's specific tone. 616 looks like a classic comic book, whereas Ultimate looks more modern. 2099 is flooded with neon, but makes use of subdued colors, giving the inherent impression of the oligarchy the 2099 world finds itself in. Noir makes great use of blacks and yellows that feels a lot like classic noir stories. But then you start playing the game. This game feels cheap and rushed. There's fun to be had, of course, but check this out.
I'ma drop you!
Hey, big guy! Drinks are on me!
No! It's taking me apart!
You seem shocked. And that's why you never make toast in the bathtub.
How about this?
Seems the Goblin Victorious forgot to pay his electric bill. Oh, applesauce. Once more into the fray, huh?
And then there's this.
Listen, Webby. I can't have you swinging around in your...
Lamest supervillain ever.
This game breaks quite a bit. I've had to return it to a previous checkpoint multiple times just to keep moving forward. The way this game moves just feels off as well. It's very start and stop. Devil May Cry and God of War make the transitions between their various attacks feel fluid. Shattered Dimensions does not. That and the levels aren't that well designed. They feel scattershot and the scenarios designed for them leave much to be desired. Most of the time you'll be brought to a room with too many enemies and you either have to kill them or ignore them, and it takes too long to kill enemies at some point. Every once in a while you get a pretty decent set piece, but not often. And that's what makes this game so strange. This game seems to get Spider-Man as a character, even if the game is all about surface level fun time experience akin to the Spider-Man ride at Universal.
Is that a cartoon pig? Focus.
But the way it's constructed just doesn't work. Beanox definitely tried to make the best game they could, but they weren't able to. Whether it be for lack of resources and time, or maybe it was too ambitious a project for the team that they ended up falling short, though it 100% feels like the former. But at the same time, all the Activision Spider-Man games post-Neversoft have felt cheap in some ways. Spider-Man 2 looks like garbage even for their time, but the swing felt so damn good that it didn't matter. Same with Ultimate Spider-Man with the added Venom bits. Money isn't the be-all end-all, clearly, but it can help. Shattered Dimensions is a frustrating game. It's constructed almost entirely through love without an actual foundation to hold it all together. It feels like mandated love, and that always comes with a due date. Activision employs people mercenarily. They weren't given the time and budget Rocksteady was, but they were seemingly tasked with making that. It feels like Marvel made the right choice ripping their licenses away from Activision. Giving Spider-Man to Sony just makes sense given their particular history with the character, and Sony is definitely giving Insomniac the breathing room and budget to make Marvel Spider-Man, so they certainly have faith in the Arkham Asylum method. Oh look, they even have the Batman combat! To be fair, Beanox figured that out in time for the Amazing Spider-Man games, which were fine. But it's sad, I think there's room for a Spider-Man of this type. But wrong time, wrong money holders, am I right?
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man.
Oh, come on,